Before the advent of coinage, the diverse communities across the Indian subcontinent engaged in a system of trade known as barter. This was, essentially, a direct exchange of goods and services. For instance, a farmer with a surplus of grain might trade his produce for pottery, tools, or textiles created by skilled artisans. This system, while functional for small, localized economies, presented significant challenges as societies grew more complex. The primary difficulty was what's called the double coincidence of wants, where both parties in a transaction had to desire what the other possessed. This made trade cumbersome, inefficient, and limited in scale, often restricting economic interactions to familiar neighbors and immediate communities, thereby slowing the growth of larger markets. To overcome the limitations of simple barter, societies gradually began to use intermediary commodities. Items such as cattle, particularly cows, or specific quantities of grain served as early forms of wealth and units of account. These were more widely accepted than individual goods, but they still had, some drawbacks. Cattle were not easily divisible for smaller transactions, and their value could fluctuate based on age and health. Grain was divisible, but difficult to transport over long distances and perishable over time. The need for a more durable, portable, and universally accepted medium of exchange became increasingly apparent as trade routes expanded and urban centers began to flourish across the Gangetic Plains and beyond. The solution to this economic puzzle emerged with the use of metals. Copper, being relatively common, was used for tools and utensils, but it was silver that gained prominence as a high-value medium for significant transactions. Silver possessed the ideal qualities for a monetary metal. It was scarce enough to be valuable, but not so rare as to be impractical. It was also highly durable, not rusting or decaying over time. Furthermore, it was malleable and divisible, meaning it could be melted and shaped into standardized units of weight, such as bars or beads, which could then be cut or combined to match the exact value of a transaction, making trade more precise. The transition from barter to metal-based exchange was a slow but transformative process. Initially, merchants and traders would carry unstamped pieces or bars of silver, which had to be weighed and tested for purity at every transaction. This was a significant improvement over barter, but it still required scales and expertise, adding a layer of complexity to commerce. This final inconvenience set the stage for the next great innovation: the creation of a standardized, certified piece of metal whose value was guaranteed by a trusted authority. It was from this necessity that India's first coins, stamped with symbols of assurance, were born, forever changing the economic landscape of the subcontinent. The 6th century BCE was a period of profound change in India, often referred to as the Second Urbanization. Great cities rose along the fertile Gangetic Plains, and new political entities known as the Mahajanapadas, or Great Realms, emerged. These 16 kingdoms and republics, including powerful states like Magadha, Kosala, and Avanti, were centers of political power, intellectual ferment, and burgeoning commerce. As trade networks expanded, connecting these new urban centers, the need for a more sophisticated and reliable monetary system became critical. The practice of weighing silver for each transaction was no longer sufficient for the scale and pace of this new economy, paving the way for the introduction of coinage. India's first coins, which appeared around this time, are known as punch-marked coins. These were not like the round, die-struck coins we are familiar with today. Instead, they were irregularly shaped pieces of silver, typically cut from flattened metal sheets. Their defining feature was the collection of symbols punched onto their surface. Rather than having a unified design, each coin was struck multiple times with different small punches, creating a collage of marks. This method was a practical solution for guaranteeing both the weight and the purity of the silver. The authority issuing the coin, whether a kingdom or a merchant guild, would apply its unique mark as a seal of approval. The creation of these coins was a revolutionary step. The punches acted as a guarantee, transforming a simple piece of metal into a trusted instrument of exchange. A merchant could now accept a coin at face value, confident in its metallic content without needing to carry scales and touchstones for every purchase. This greatly accelerated the speed of commerce, facilitated the collection of taxes, and allowed rulers to pay soldiers and administrators with a standardized currency. The punch-marked coin was more than just money. It was an instrument of state power and a catalyst for economic integration across vast geographical areas. These early coins were primarily made of silver, a testament to the metal's established value in long-distance trade. The standard weight unit was derived from traditional Indian measures, with the most common coin, the Karshapana, weighing approximately 3.4 grams. The production process was relatively simple. Silver was melted and flattened into a sheet, which was then cut into pieces of the correct weight. Each piece was then individually stamped by an official minter using a hammer and a set of punches. The resulting coins were crude by later standards, but perfectly suited for the economic demands of their time, launching India on a 2,500-year journey of numismatic history. The symbols found on punch-marked coins are a fascinating, albeit enigmatic, window into the world of ancient India. Unlike later coinage that featured portraits of rulers or explicit inscriptions, these early coins communicated their authority through a complex language of abstract and naturalistic symbols. These marks were not decorative. Each one was deliberately chosen and placed. Scholars believe that the symbols served multiple functions. They identified the issuing authority, certified the coin's metallic value, and perhaps even denoted the specific mint or the reign of a particular ruler. Deciphering this symbolic vocabulary has been a central challenge for numismatists and historians seeking to understand this formative period. The variety of symbols is vast, with hundreds of distinct marks identified. Common motifs include geometric patterns such as dots, circles, crescents, and complex Taurine symbols, a dot surrounded by 4 crescents. Many symbols were drawn from nature, with representations of the sun, hills, often shown as 3 or 6 arches, trees and railings, and various animals like elephants, bulls, and fish. The sun symbol, for instance, is often associated with imperial sovereignty, while a 3-arched hill topped with a crescent is thought to represent a major dynasty, possibly the Mauryas. These symbols were the public face of power in an era where literacy was not widespread. The issuing authorities of these coins were initially the various Mahajanapadas. Each kingdom or republic seems to have used a specific combination of symbols to mark its currency. For example, coins attributed to the kingdom of Magadha often feature a consistent group of 5 symbols, including the sun and a 6-armed symbol. Coins from the Gandhara region in the northwest, in contrast, were often bar-shaped and featured a single, deeply impressed, 6-petaled flower mark. Merchant guilds, known as shrenis, may have also issued their own coinage, using their specific guild symbols to guarantee the value of the silver and facilitate trade within their networks. The arrangement of the punches also holds meaning. Most coins have a primary set of around 5 large symbols, which are believed to be the official marks of the state. Over time, smaller secondary marks were often added. These could be bankers' or money changers' marks, applied to a coin each time it was tested and verified during its circulation. As a result, older coins that had been in circulation for a long time can be covered in dozens of tiny symbols, creating a unique historical record of the coin's journey through the hands of countless individuals across ancient India, each punch a silent testament to a transaction completed long ago. The rise of the Mauryan Empire in the late 4th century BCE under Chandragupta. Maurya marked a pivotal moment in the history of Indian coinage. For the first time, a single political power held sway over almost the entire subcontinent, from the Himalayas in the north to the Deccan Plateau in the south. This vast, centralized administration required an efficient and uniform system for tax collection, trade, and state expenditure. The diverse coinage of the erstwhile Mahajanapadas was no longer adequate for the needs of a unified empire. Consequently, the Mauryans undertook a massive project of currency standardization, creating a single, imperial coinage that circulated across their vast domain. Under Mauryan rule, the production of punch-marked coins was brought under strict state control. The Arthashastra, an ancient treatise on statecraft attributed to Kautilya, thought to be Chanakya, Chandragupta's chief advisor, provides detailed instructions on the management of a mint. It describes the role of the Lakshanadhyaksha, the superintendent of the mint, who was responsible for ensuring the purity of the metals and the accuracy of the weights. This text outlines precise metallic compositions for silver coins, known as karshapana, and copper coins, called mashaka, indicating a highly organized and bureaucratic approach to currency management that was really unprecedented in its scale and detail. The Mauryan imperial punch-marked coins are identifiable by their consistent format and symbolic language. While still irregularly shaped, they were manufactured to a remarkably uniform weight standard of approximately 3.4 grams of silver. More importantly, they all featured a consistent group of 5 punches on the obverse. This set of 5 symbols always included the sun and the 6-armed symbol, which are now widely interpreted as the dynastic emblems of the Mauryan emperors. The other 3 symbols in the group varied, possibly representing different mints, specific rulers, or periods of issue, but the presence of the 2 imperial marks guaranteed the coin's legitimacy anywhere within the empire. This standardization had a profound impact on the Indian economy. A single, reliable currency fostered unprecedented levels of internal trade and economic integration. A merchant from Pataliputra, the Mauryan capital, could travel to Taxila in the northwest or to the trading ports of the south and use the same coins with complete confidence. This uniformity really simplified transactions, reduced the costs associated with money changing, and strengthened the central authority of the state. The Mauryan silver karshapana became the economic backbone of the first great Indian empire, a tangible symbol of imperial unity that connected millions of people across a vast and diverse land. Following the decline of the Mauryan Empire around 185 BCE, India's political landscape fragmented, but its numismatic traditions entered a new and dynamic phase. The most significant development came from the northwest, with the arrival of the Indo-Greeks. Successors to Alexander the Great's campaigns, these Hellenistic kings brought with them a radically different tradition of coinage. Their coins were round, die-struck, and featured realistic portraits of the ruling monarch on the obverse. The reverse often depicted Greek deities or symbols and included inscriptions in Greek and later in Indian scripts like Brahmi and Kharoshthi, naming the king and his titles. This was a dramatic departure from the anonymous symbolic language of punch-marked coins. The influence of Indo-Greek coinage was profound and lasting. Their practice of issuing bilingual and biscriptural coins set a precedent that was followed by subsequent dynasties like the Sakas, also known as Indo-Scythians, and the Kushans. This fusion of Hellenistic artistry with Indian elements created a vibrant numismatic tradition. The Kushan Empire, in particular, which flourished from the 1st to the 3rd century CE, issued a remarkable series of gold and copper coins, featuring a pantheon of Greek, Iranian, and Indian deities, reflecting the cosmopolitan nature of their empire, which straddled the Silk Road. While silver was less prominent during the Kushan period, the principle of inscribed pictorial coinage had been firmly established. The tradition of silver coinage was revived with great elegance during the Gupta Empire, from around 320 to 550 CE, often considered India's classical age. The early Gupta emperors primarily issued magnificent gold coins, but it was Chandragupta II who reintroduced a widespread silver currency after his conquest of the Western satraps in the late 4th century CE. These Western satraps, of Saka origin, had been issuing their own distinct silver coinage for centuries, which itself was derived from the Indo-Greek model. The first Gupta silver coins closely imitated the satrapal design, featuring the king's bust on the obverse and a dynastic symbol, often the mythical eagle Garuda, on the reverse. Over time, the Gupta silver coins evolved, shedding the vestiges of the satrapal design and developing a style that was purely Gupta in its aesthetic. The portraits of the kings became more stylized and Indianized, and the reverse motifs became more elaborate, showcasing the high artistic achievements of the era. The inscriptions, written in Brahmi script, provided valuable historical information about the Gupta lineage. This period firmly cemented the use of silver for intermediate transactions, positioned between the high-value gold dinaras and the low-value copper coins, creating a flexible and sophisticated trimetallic currency system that would influence Indian monetary practices for centuries to come. The medieval period brought new waves of political change to India, and with them, further evolution in coinage. With the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate in 1206, Islamic numismatic traditions were introduced to the subcontinent. The early sultans continued to issue coins in the existing Indian weights and styles, including the Bilan Jatal. However, the most significant monetary reform was undertaken by Sultan Iltutmish, who ruled from 1211 to 1236. He introduced two new standard coins, the silver tanka, weighing around 11 grams, and the copper jatal. The silver tanka was a coin of high purity and standardized weight, and it quickly became the backbone of the Sultanate's monetary system. A key feature of Sultanate coinage was the replacement of pictorial representations with Arabic inscriptions. In keeping with Islamic tradition, the coins typically bore the Sultan's name and titles, the mint location, and the date of issue in the Hijri calendar. Often, they also included religious verses from the Quran. These inscribed coins were powerful statements of sovereignty and faith. The reforms of rulers like Alauddin Khalji and Muhammad bin Tughlaq further refined the currency system, though Tughlaq's infamous experiment with token currency demonstrated the perils of monetary policy without public trust. The silver tanka of the Sultanate, however, remained the standard for high-value commerce for nearly 300 years. The most important development in the history of Indian silver coinage came with the Suri dynasty ruler Sher Shah Suri, who reigned from 1540 to 1545. In his short but impactful reign, he undertook a sweeping reform of the currency system. He introduced a new, high-purity silver coin called the rupiah, which weighed approximately 11.5 grams. He also standardized the copper coin, called the dam. The silver rupiah was of such consistent quality and reliability that it was readily accepted across northern India. Sher Shah Suri's system was so successful that it was adopted and continued by the Mughal emperors who succeeded him. The Mughals, who ruled India from the early 16th to the mid-19th century, elevated the minting of the silver rupiah to an art form. Under Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb, mints across the empire produced vast quantities of beautifully crafted silver coins. While adhering to the weight standard set by Sher Shah, Mughal coins became renowned for their exquisite calligraphy and intricate floral and geometric designs. Jahangir even issued a famous series of zodiac coins and coins bearing his and Empress Nur Jahan's portraits. The Mughal silver rupee became one of the most recognized and trusted currencies in the world, facilitating the flourishing trade between India, Europe, and the Middle East. As Mughal power waned in the 18th century, the authority to mint coins fragmented. Various regional powers, including the Marathas, the Sikhs, and the Nawabs of Awadh and Bengal, began issuing their own silver rupees, often in the name of the nominal Mughal emperor, but with their own distinct marks. This period of monetary diversity was brought to an end by the rise of the British East India Company. Seeking economic and political dominance, the company gradually consolidated control over India's currency. In 1835, the British introduced a uniform coinage across their territories, establishing a silver rupee that featured the portrait of the reigning British monarch on the obverse. This British Indian rupee, weighing 11.66 grams with 91.7% silver purity, became the standard currency of the subcontinent for over a century. The portrait of William IV was followed by those of Queen Victoria, Edward VII, George V, and George VI. The designs on the reverse were standardized, typically featuring the value and date surrounded by a wreath. This imperial currency symbolized the integration of India into the British Empire, and its stability facilitated trade and administration across the vast colony. The silver rupee remained the bedrock of the Indian economy until the pressures of the Second World War led to a reduction in silver content and the eventual introduction of quaternary alloy and nickel coins. After India gained independence in 1947, the newly formed Republic of India needed to establish its own distinct currency. While the name rupee was retained, the symbols of British monarchy were replaced with emblems of national sovereignty. The first coins of the Republic of India, issued in 1950, featured the Ashoka lion capital on the obverse, a symbol drawn from India's ancient Mauryan past. The silver content in coins was, however, a thing of the past for general circulation, as the value of the metal had risen far beyond the face value of the coins. Nickel and other base metals became the standard for minting, marking the end of silver's long reign as the primary metal for everyday currency. Today, silver coins are no longer used in daily transactions, but their legacy endures. The original punch-marked coins are invaluable archaeological artifacts that provide insight into the economy, politics, and symbolism of ancient India. The journey of the silver coin, from the irregular pieces of the Mahajanapadas to the standardized rupiah of Sher Shah and the British, mirrors the historical trajectory of India itself, a story of innovation, conquest, fusion, and the quest for a unified identity. These silent metal witnesses connect the digital economy of modern India to the bustling markets of Pataliputra, carrying within their metallic sheen the weight of 2,500 years of history.